Nail or beauty school was just the beginning, right? What on earth do you do now? Welcome to the Salon Success podcast with Monaco Nail Academy. Our topics stretch beyond nails and into all things salon related, business, marketing, and social media, and at the very least hits you with real, honest stories about our experiences. This isn't school, this is real life, real business, and really freaking hard work. The Salon Success podcast is recorded live on Mondays at 5 p.m. New Zealand time via facebook.com/Monaco Nail Academy and available on Spotify and Google playlists. Before we get started, wherever you are, thumbs up, tag a friend in the comments, or hit that share button and support small business. Alrighty guys, let's get started. I'm Penny from Monaco Nail Academy and I am joined today by Janelle.
Hello.
Janelle is from Plume Nail Design, and we also have Rochelle with us.
Hey guys.
From Aphrodite and Iris. And we are going to have a chat today about things we learned the hard way. I have come completely unprepared because I assumed that a topic like this might just flow. I've been teaching all day. Class finished 10 minutes ago.
And it's too hot.
To be fair, Rochelle taught the last hour of class, but it's my excuse and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
How are you guys doing?
Hot.
Yeah. We had to turn the aircon off to be able to record podcast because it's too loud. So now we're going to bake slowly for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah. Like
my
eyelash and my mascara will just start running in my face.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that Rochelle is the newbie in the group as far as nail teching goes. So I'm going to jump straight to you because I feel like your experiences will be more relevant maybe?
Or fresher.
Recent?
Yeah.
Okay, so hit us with something,
I have
Rochelle.
quite a few. But
Just one?
So
Why did you learn the hard way?
one thing that I still kick myself over, obviously I haven't been doing it this long. My salon turns one in just a few weeks, which is really exciting.
That is so exciting.
Side note. But one thing that I learned the hard way was pricing. I didn't think about how much it cost me to do anything, and I was offering acrylics because I thought I sucked at them for $25.
Oh,
Turns out,
that breaks my little heart.
I know. Turns out, because Mariah told me off as well, Mariah and Shane, and I think you did too. But it turns out
something I would.
I'm not that bad at them, and that didn't even cover half of my product cost.
Yeah.
So basically, the 12 sets I did cost me money.
So,
and I still kick myself about it.
What would you do differently? By the way, Teresa says that you have really nice nails.
That's because she did them, but I took them off. I'm sorry. So what I would do differently is I didn't really know much about the salon success part of Monaco.
I swear every podcast turns into you shamelessly plugging how to set your prices.
But it's so good. I actually cannot stress how amazing it is and how much I've learned. And I've actually even got other people who aren't nail techs to be like, you should look at Penny's site and get this because it's amazing.
It's fairly transferable.
Yeah, it really, really is. And I push it now. If you are on this, if you're doing Monaco course, you should definitely get this.
Or if you're not.
Yeah, or if you're not, just in general. I mean, I did it for myself, and then because I am heavily involved in my mum's business where she makes her own skincare, I did it for her skincare products. And it definitely, it's changed the way I look at my business. It's changed the way that I look at my pricing. It was awesome, and I really, really wish I had have done that when I started.
I can add to this with only minorly shamelessly it sounds like all we do is offer how to set your prices because you bring it up every podcast.
I don't mean to. It just comes into
I mean, also the fact that you've made them, so it's really easy. You understand it.
But so how that came about, I guess, or my moment that relates to your moment is, so I had been doing nails for 5 years. Yeah. So way longer. When I was first in class, I asked my educator roughly what I should charge. And I think that people, I don't know, I feel like we attract quite onto it students But when I said to my educator, how much should I charge? And she was kind of like a bit flustered by it. And then the very next lesson, I turned up with a draft price list, and she was like, I don't understand like what's going on. I was like, well, I'm here to make money. Yeah. I don't understand why this is confusing. Yeah. But like, so she gave me prices, and I just did what she told me to, because like with my course, I didn't research anything. Yeah. And I just pretty much made the prices exactly what she recommended, and then didn't change them for 5 years. And I mean, at first when I set them, I was taking it seriously, and then for a while in the middle, I was just having fun with it. And so then when I went to go full time, like 4.5 years in, I didn't change them again, but I just, I'd never done gel polish before. So I added that in and just like picked a price that seemed reasonable. Didn't research that at all. And then like 6 months later, maybe coming up towards a year later, someone who was like a friend of my mum's, but wanted to become a business mentor, hadn't really done it before, but she was like happy to kind of chat to me about my business while we did nails. And she goes, well, how much does it cost you to do this? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like the manicure that you're doing right now, how much does it cost you to do it? And I was like, oh. And I had this real like facepalm moment where I was like, oh shit, that's a thing I should know. Yeah, like I just felt instantly stupid because it made so much sense that I should know that. Yeah. But all I knew is that at the end of every day there was money left in the bank. So to me I was profitable, and therefore it didn't matter. But with her help, I worked out that, so I was charging what was it? I think I was charging $40 for a gel polish manicure, plain color, no soak off. But they were costing me $48. And then the reason that there was money left in the bank was from full sets and nail art. Yeah. So every time I did a full set, that was paying for someone else's gel polish. Oh, and so that was my wake up call. That's what I learned the hard way, was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And also then when I put my prices up, everyone was like I had people going, oh, finally. Oh. I literally had like 3 people be like,
totally unrelated to nails, but my mum does the same thing. Like she's a dog groomer, so when she does a dog, she'll do it for like an old couple. She charges like $20-$25.
That's nothing.
Unbranded animates the charge is like $70-$80 minimum. Yeah. And every time she's like, oh, just 25. The people are like, are you crazy? Yeah. And they'll be like, have this. And they'll give her like an extra $5 or $10. Yes. Not like crazy amounts, like 70 or 80. But, you know, they give her more. And so she finally put up her price from like $20 to $25. Yeah. And they were like, about time.
Yeah. Yeah. Like so many people actually had that feedback of being like, yeah, well, obviously you do way better than what like the people in the mall do. And sometimes you're even cheaper than what they're doing. And sometimes you're the same. And people were super happy to do it. And I put my prices up. Like I went from 40 to 50. So that's a considerable price increase. And I think I lost 2 clients. And the next time I did a price increase 18 months later was like not quite the same hike, but pretty similar. And I lost 4 clients. And by then I was like, I had staff, like I was fully booked and then some. So to lose 4 was like, oh, that's fine. I think the thing that people don't remember, and you'll remember this from How to Set Prices, is if you put your prices up 10%, you can afford to lose 10% of your clients and still make the exact same amount of money, but working 10% less hours. Yeah. So like if you have 20 clients, you can afford for 2 of them to walk away. And statistically, like that's all that will. Yeah. No one else will.
So one thing that I really learned out of How to Set Your Prices, other than how to set my prices, was the upsell thing. Yeah. And so I learned, I bought in glass bottles of water. Yeah. Because I didn't want plastic because, environment and stuff, and I'm already contributing to that. Yeah. So I bought in glass bottles, and people were like, oh, this is cool. And I was like, yes, winning. Yeah. And then I added. You can get them
sandblasted, did you know?
No.
Yeah, you can get your logo sandblasted into the side of the bottle, and it's not even that expensive.
Oh, I might look at that next. But like I've just done little things to, upsell.
Yeah,
and one-ups. So, and then I bought like a hot towel and one-ups, that's what they're called, but it's such a good thing. Like I love it, and I still watch it. I probably watch one of the videos at least once a week.
I'm
still watching it because I'm still trying to, like, obviously I'm not full-time yet, but that's my aim. So I'm trying to think in the future, and I've got like a few one-ups planned like throughout the year.
Janelle, did you just run straight into perfect pricing?
No,
Your pricing's still not perfect.
No, it's
not. We had
not.
this discussion before Christmas.
Yeah. Like, I think probably I'm still in that phase of this is not perfect, but it's what I'm okay with.
Yeah.
And it's not, is it undercutting myself? Yeah, probably. Do I have much of a gripe with it? Nah. Am I paying rent? Yeah. That's all that matters to me right now.
As long as you're happy, because like we've talked before on the podcast, so I feel safe mentioning that you've had like mental health stuff before, which is what led you into nails. So there does have to be a bit of a balance, and that probably, actually, this was completely unplanned, but that probably leads into the thing I learned the hard way, to be honest. Like actually balance and saying no.
Yeah. I'm still struggling with that because I'm a home salon and I'm just like, like friends will rock around and want their nails done. And I'm like, sure.
Oh, see, I
don't.
No.
Like
I struggle.
And
it's because I offered them free to start with, and now I expect them to be free.
One of my best friends, Wendy, she was like just a couple of weeks ago, like, so when can you fit me in? And I was like, okay, well, I have no clients this week, and I was really excited about it, so next Wednesday. And she was like, oh, okay. She was so lovely about it. She didn't actually care, but she was like, I felt really bad because I was like, I know that I have a full week ahead of me, which I had like scheduled out admin that I needed to do. I wasn't taking the week off, but I was so looking forward to having not a single client, because for those of you listening who don't know, I do clients every second week, but I do have a few that slip through the cracks, but I try and keep 90% of them on every second week. But this was a whole week with nobody. Everyone had just like the sea had parted, and I had a whole week. And so it's so hard though. I still can't say no.
Especially hard for me because I'm still so like, not saying you guys aren't passionate about it, but it's so new for me. And so I'm like, I'm totally doing it. I was like, the excitement is there. And
you're
I'm
in the
like,
honeymoon phase.
Oh my gosh. But I have stopped doing my nails every second day. So that's like a win.
I'm past the 7-year itch where I'm like comfortable and I don't want anyone else. But I'm also not like, you want to go out to the pub with the boys? Go. Me and nails. That's me and nails.
Totally.
Definitely.
Like, I'll be so excited when you come home, but go to the pub.
No.
If you're listening, because I know we've got a few people listening live. We do record this live on Facebook before it goes everywhere else to be listened to as a podcast. So if you are listening live, tell us what you learned the hard way, and we will share some of your stories in the podcast as well, or chime in with stuff that ties in with what we're talking about. Definitely balance. I'm not there yet, so I can't even say that I learned it the hard way because I haven't learned it yet. I just know I need to. I haven't really got that far.
You know how like a couple of podcasts ago, or more than a couple now, we talked about that work-life balance and getting everything, like doing your 6 monthly, your annual check and everything. And I'd just gone through that and moved Salon back home, took the Salon back, all that kind of stuff. I realized earlier it's Monday, so last week, that I was actually really happy with where I am now.
Yay!
So learned that whole shit the hard way. And you actually do have to monitor what you're doing in order to be fully happy and agree with everything that you're doing.
I guess I kind of hit a wall before Christmas as well, because I was working, so I have a full-time job, I do nails part-time. I was working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I work till 4:30. I have an hour break, and then my nail clients come in. I was working 5:30 till 9 those days, and then from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. on Saturday, and every second Sunday. And so I had
too much.
I had no time. And so before Christmas, I had like this huge breakdown, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. People were like, are you open between Christmas and New Year? And I was like, you know what? No, I'm not. I am having a break.
But then the thing that we're trying to learn is to sort our shit out before the breakdown.
100%.
Because like before you guys got here this afternoon, I spent the last hour having a mini breakdown. Like I just spent this afternoon so overwhelmed with stuff, and my goal definitely is to work on that and have my hours sorted. And I've actually been tracking how many hours a day get spent on each part of the business and analyzing what that makes my hourly rate. Because I know how much each part of the business makes, because I've got client stock, online training, and in-person training. So I know how much each part makes, but comparing the hours and going, okay, well, this one actually makes half as much per hour as this other part. And then also factoring in, like, I have a very, I think, impressive spreadsheet that is factoring in enjoyment and stuff as well. So like the lower hourly rate doesn't matter that much if it's my favorite part.
Yeah.
But if it's a low hourly rate and it turns out it's my least favorite part, then I need to seriously consider how long that continues on in its current state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But I mean, this is stuff that we're learning the hard way. So mental breakdowns are totally fine right
the
now.
hard way. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be stuff we already learned, but
I think for my little mini breakdown, it wasn't just nails, because I obviously work full time and there was a lot of stuff going on there as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of personal stuff as well. So this year I've been super like strict, and I only take one client a night after work.
Fun.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I've thought about doing that.
Yeah, and then I work every second Saturday.
Yeah.
Because
that's good.
I need some time with my husband. Like,
you
I know some
need
people
time
thought,
for
like,
yourself.
yeah, and for me, you know, especially when I've been at work all day, because I'm in customer service type role, and then I'm customer service all day with clients, which is fine because that's exciting. But at the end of the day, I'm just drained. Like, and my husband tries to have a conversation with me, and he's like, "You're not even listening," and I'm like, "What?" Like,
imagine if you were an introvert. That would be so much worse.
But I feel like,
like you and I are going,
my flatmate will be like, I hate nail days, because he's like trying to fill me in and chat to me and stuff, and I'm just like, no, I'm gone.
Yeah, it's actually really taxing. Like, I didn't know it was going to be this exhausting. It's still fun though. So
like I'll have a full day of clients, which isn't, in the grand scheme of things, for everyone else isn't many, but for me it's a lot, because that's where I want to be. Like my full day, I come home and I'm just dead. Like Adam will talk to me and I'm like, just cook your dinner and leave me alone. I just don't have time.
Okay, so here's actually a thing that I learned, not necessarily the hard way, but something I learned that ties in with that. So so me and Sam invented driving home. So my issue was, and I think this is for a lot of you, that like when I used to finish my day job that I had in town before I did nails full time, you then have half an hour in the car, whatever, to listen to your music, crank it, window down, sun in your face, like whatever the situation is, to just be in your own brain and chill the F out.
Yeah.
And so Sam was quite good at, like, we were really good at defining stuff and like taking it on board instead of just like one person yabbering at the other and the other not caring. So I said to him, look, like one of the issues I've had with partners in the past is that they didn't understand that I don't get to drive home. Like they walk in the door and they've driven home. Yeah. And I walk in the door and
walk in the door, you're in the door already.
Yes, but even when I wasn't working, if I'm not working from home, I've always worked within 2 kilometers of home. So it takes me a minute to get there. And I'm like, so I haven't had that time yet. So Sam and I invented driving home, where I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to go drive home. And he wouldn't talk to me until I talked to him. Yeah. And so he would just give me 10 to 15 minutes to
I can't imagine like spending more than 10 to 15 minutes. You're like, I'm still driving home, bugger off.
No, it's just that time to like scroll, check your notifications, like whatever you want to do without someone going, how's your day? And like I have had previous partners or flatmates be like shitty with me because I've walked in the door and they want to know, they've been waiting for me to get home and they're like, how's your day? I want to tell you about mine. And I'm like, I can't right now. So being able to say I need to drive home, or like him going, do you need to drive home? And me going, no, go ahead. And he's like, great, let me tell you all these things. And I've kept that and continued it with people since.
I like
and
that.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, and it's worked since, being like, okay, I just need to drive home, and then not having to explain what that means or why.
You know, though, just
that's really cool.
With that there, I can actually say that works too, because although I work from home now, I drop Adam in every morning, and well, not so much anymore, but when I drop him in or pick him up, like there's half an hour where I'm just on my own, be it taking him in or picking him up. Like there's always a half an hour break where I don't have him there. And like if we've had a mini fight on the way or like, you know, be wherever it is, I'll spend that half an hour just blasting to my music. And by the time I get home, I'm like, sorry, Adam, you know, like.
And like you can change your whole mood in that half hour too. Like if I woke up from a terrible night of sleep and blah, 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 before I was a bit sick of it, on the way to work, I would just blast Beyonce Run the World. Yeah. And if I pumped that so loud the whole way, I'd walk in being like, right, let's do this. And so you can do the same thing on the way home and you don't have that chance. So like some of my friends have sent me heaps of memes over the years. There's like ones that like say sometimes I just need to be alone with my music and stuff like that. And that's so me, like after a really bad day, driving home would mean headphones and top volume and just give me 3 songs and I'll be back. Bex likes the idea. Bex is listening live as well, and she's like, yes, I need to drive home more often.
Yeah. It sounds like a really good idea.
It's the one thing we're missing.
Yeah. Well, so with me and my partner, we take our dog to the park, and that's our download. And he's like, come tell me about your day. And I'm like, I cannot be asked. The park is literally across the road from where we live. And I'm like, I can't be bothered. He's like, just come outside. He's like, take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground, like real hippie stuff. And then he's like, do you feel better?
Outside is the best thing ever invented.
Like 100%. And I'm like, okay, I feel better. He's like, yeah, see? I know, but I need to get there. Like,
it's crossing that line is hard.
The best thing I ever did in terms of balance, which I will get back on track in a second, the best thing I ever did in terms of balance was putting my phone down. So for the first few years, my friends would be like, are you still working if I was on my phone? And I'd be like, yes, but like, I love it though. And I do still love it, but I can't do it for as long as I used to. Which, to be fair, the amount I do it is still more than lots. But like I would be doing it all day, every day, all weekend, all into the night, and they'd be like, get off your phone. I'd be like, no, I'm working. And they'd say, you know, like, you need to not work so much. I'd say, well, you just spent an hour playing Farmville. Like, I'm spending an hour it's a game. It's all a game. It's just that my game makes me money and your game costs you money and buying freaking fake fertilizer. And so at first that was fine for me, but then a couple of years ago I went through some shit that started anxiety, which I hadn't had before, and it was definitely circumstantial, but it was a really rough patch, and my phone going off would set it off. Like someone saying like anything, I'd be like, oh my God, what is it now?
And it might not even be totally related.
Sometimes it was nothing. Sometimes it was something. But definitely like my phone going off would just instantly, I'd panic. And so I started at 6 o'clock every night, putting my phone, like plugging it in the other room and then just leaving it. And holy shit, it's good. We also did screen-free Sundays for a while with like not a single screen. And like I will sometimes do it for a half day now, or if I know I need it, I'll do it for an evening. And the thing is, if you go completely screen-free, you are so bored for the first hour and a half because your brain doesn't know what to do. But after an hour and a half, it's amazing. Like the rest of the day or the evening or whatever is great. So now I actually have an alarm on my phone at 7 p.m. every weeknight that says put your phone down, because I work till 6 now, even if I'm not with clients. So 7 p.m. is like enough time to clear shit, and like I plan my meals and stuff on it. So then at 7 o'clock I put it down. And I leave it at home. If we go out to dinner, I leave it at home. We go to the beach, I leave it at home. And it's so much better.
I can definitely
I really
say,
need to do that.
I can definitely say I'm not as phone dependent as I used to be. And I learned that the hard way with clients.
Like an era thing though. Like everybody's on their phone. You go out to dinner and there's people that are out to dinner and they're all just on their phone. And my husband hates it. He's like, I'm going to take your phone into the lounge. And I have like a panic attack. And I'm like, why?
See, like, if I did that to my husband, he would be like, no. And
he's like, babe, this is why. Like, you are an addict.
For me, it's an introvert thing though. So actually not having my phone is a really good tool for pushing me out of my limits, because the more that I introvert, the harder it becomes to function normally. And the more normal day-to-day things become stressful because I don't know how to do them. So it forces me to practice. If I go to a party and I will be shitting my pants until I, like, even while I'm there and until I find my comfort zone. So I purposely leave my phone at home, because otherwise I will be a wallflower on my phone, or I'll go to the toilet just to have 5 minutes on my phone where I don't have to think about other people. So leaving it behind is so much better for me.
I definitely need to do that.
All right, so things we've learned the hard way. Who's got another one?
I think my thing for learning the hard way is definitely like dealing with strangers who are potential clients. And like, so when I was a student and everyone would come in and they would be like, oh, you know, they just sit down in front of you because they're your practice. And as soon as you go out of the classroom and you're actually on your own, whether it, like, for mostly my experience has been on my own in my own salon. It's not been in somebody else's salon or, a situation like that. So my situation was always on my own. And when you leave the classroom, you don't have that person coming in and being like, oh, I'm just your practice. You're now, oh, I'm paying for this service. Yeah. And I had to learn the hard way, like, how to deal with that and wrap my head around it and how to treat them and how to behave around them, because for so long that was my anxiety of having a new client and dealing with that new person and being like, oh, hi, how's your day? What do you do? What do you want? All that kind of stuff. Because training, you're just like, okay, this person's coming in, they're sitting in front of you and they're getting what you give them. Whereas when you go out, it's like, oh, you actually want something that I'm giving you and you're asking for it and you're paying for it.
You want it? Are you sure you want it?
You want it? Yeah, like, can't I just give you what I want? Or, that kind of thing. So it was such a shift, and definitely now I don't have that anxiety of what am I doing? Oh my God, this is a new person, because I know my skill. And especially when you start, you don't know your skill and you don't know, like, you're really training. So
I'm sure everyone goes through that.
Right? And so that was something that I learned the hard way was how to deal with a client. How to be a nail tech without your school behind you. Because that was such a, oh my God, such a freak. And in a way, you almost need to be thrown into the deep end, but like, there's no other way you can do it.
The thing is, like, we do consultation training, for example,
which you didn't have when I was training.
Yeah, we do now, but still, in class, you are focused on so many things that has to get left behind sometimes because you've got too much to remember.
Yeah, definitely. And now it's like, that's second nature to me now, but definitely when people came in and I was so just like, oh God, blah, blah, blah. And like, when I get nervous, I get a stutter. And so when I'm trying to talk to them, I'm sort of talking like, oh, and they're like, are you even a professional? Really? Would you trying to pay for someone having a stutter and trying to paint your nails and they're going like shaking so bad? Oh, nah, that's definitely scary.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one. So taking it personally when someone doesn't rebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was huge for me because, like, the first time that someone doesn't rebook or that they physically tell you no, like, it's not just they didn't rebook at the time. It's like you get in touch a few days later and you're like, hey, like, do you want to come back? And they say, no, not right now. And, like, the thing is, most of the time it's not a big deal. But in those first few months or the first couple of years while you're doing it, it is a big deal because this is personal. It's your baby and you have put everything you are capable of into this thing. Like, no matter, even if you think of nail techs around you that you might not know, and maybe you've judged them a little bit, blah, 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 it doesn't matter how good or bad a nail tech is. That is everything they've got. Yeah. Whatever they're putting out there is everything they've got. Yeah. So, like, to have put everything into something and for it to not be enough is heartbreaking. Yeah, it really is. The thing is that you learn over time. Like, I've had people book in years after not coming back. And I'm like, oh, how have you been? And they've been like, oh, good. I can't believe it's so long since I saw you. Like, actually, the day after I saw you, my husband asked me for a divorce and I was so stressed. And then I found out this and then this thing happened and blah, 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 blah. And then I had to move cities and now I'm back and I'm finally fine. And I'm like, holy shit, that was not about me. Yeah, like, and it almost, like, it so often isn't. Yeah. It's not actually about you. And I've explained this in a few different trainings that we've done. So some of you might recognize this sort of anecdote, but I know you will, Rochelle, is that if you think about your local, like, coffee shop, the place that you go to get your coffee, like, your favorite place to go is not the same place that you went to, like, 10 years ago, for example. So when you stopped going to that place 10 years ago, it probably wasn't because they were awful. And it definitely wasn't, definitely wasn't because the owner was awful. Yeah. Like, so if you stop going to a shop, a supermarket, a coffee shop, anything that you've gone to a few times and you don't go back to, it's almost never because the owner is a shit person. Yeah. It's usually like they have changed their coffee beans and it's not the same anymore, or the best barista quit and it's not the same anymore, or you've changed jobs and you don't drive past it anymore, or you've moved house and you don't go there anymore. Like, you've just found out that you're pregnant and now you're saving to be able to not work full time anymore. And it's not about the owner. It's almost never about the owner, but the owner doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And it's the same with every business, every industry. Like, they're still stressing, and you don't ever think like, oh, like, I better mention to the owner that it's not him. You just have in your head like, oh, the coffee's just not what it used to be. I'm going to try the place next door.
Yeah.
And
then you never go back.
And you never go back. And okay, cool. Maybe he's the one that changed the coffee beans, but it's not because he's a shit person. Like, that's the thing. When someone doesn't come back and you take it personally, you're not shit. It just didn't work anymore, and that's okay.
Yeah, totally.
I can definitely relate to that. I've got a client that is very stable now. She had come to me like when I first started. She was one of my first people that I did, and I was trying my damnedest to be like really good for her. Things worked for a while, but then she had a few issues with chipping and peeling and that kind of thing. And so Christmas came up, I did nails for her, and then I just didn't hear from her. And I was like, oh God, something's wrong. Like, I messaged her being like, hey, haven't seen you. Do you want to come in? I didn't hear back or anything. And I was like, she hates me, like making all of this stuff up in my head. And I was,
because we're really good at that.
Yeah, I was distraught over the fact that she hadn't come back, because she'd come to me and she was so nice, and she'd written an amazing review as well on my Facebook page and everything. You know, it seemed like the perfect connection. And then nothing. And so I was just mortified that I'd done something wrong and my nails hadn't lasted, and she was
mad. Why are you even a nail tech? You may as well quit now.
Yeah. And
I've had those a lot.
Yeah.
The last couple of months.
Then the next year came, and like a few years into it, she's like, oh my God, I'm coming to see you again. And she booked in with me. And it was, you know, like she came in and she was like, oh, yeah, I just got so many vouchers for nails over Christmas that I went to them and got rid of them. And now I'm back because they ruined my nails. And so now she comes to me. She's really loyal, and her nails have never looked better. So it's like, you just
have to remember you're in business now. It's not personal. It's not friendships. It's business. And I have also definitely learned the hard way, but probably won't elaborate too much on not mixing business and pleasure. Although,
it's hard.
It's really hard because, like, I work so much that most of the people I meet who have the same interests as me are clients or customers or students. And for a really long time, I refused to entertain any friendship with any student, no matter how well we got on, no matter the fact that we were the same age, because I was like, no, I have to maintain I'm the educator and they're the student, because I had it go badly where once I had a friendship with a student or client, both have happened. So for you guys listening, clients still relevant, but I had a friendship with that person, and then they expected to get friendship leniencies, mates rates, but not rates. Just like, oh, what do you mean you can't change this? Or what do you mean I can't be 15 minutes late to an appointment? We're friends. And when you don't stand for that, suddenly not only do they not want to be your friend anymore, or you have a personal issue with them, but now your business looks bad too. And so trying to find that balance is something that I learned the hard way. I don't know that I've mastered it yet. I would say, like, you're the most recent person, Rochelle, that I've like let past the barrier of being like, no, okay, we can hang out, like, kind of thing. But I'm so much more cautious now about letting people pass that line. Whereas before it's like, well, I work all these hours and I turn down my real friends constantly because I'm working, because nails happen evenings and weekends and stuff. And you tell things to your clients, they tell you everything, and it's easy to go, okay, cool, we're friends now. But like, I've got a client who I went and did the Sketches event yesterday with, and she's been a client of mine for 6 years, and that's the first time I've ever been like, okay, yes, we can hang out now. It's just being guarded and being and not letting it cross over so much.
But you know, like, we're talking about things that you learn the hard way. I don't think there's ever actually a way that you can't learn it the hard way. Like, you can try and protect yourself as much as you want, but
especially
you just
if you've
have
got
to
your
learn.
own salon.
Like, you just have to learn things the hard way sometimes.
Once I was like scared off making friends with other people in the industry, however the connection was made, then it wasn't actually like, it's mostly coincidental, I think, but like the next phase of my life wasn't the most fun one. And I think possibly I think it was a mix of other things that all just happened to happen at the same time. But like shutting yourself off to potential friendships just because they might go badly is
It's a pretty lonely life.
Yeah, it's lonely. It's shit.
Yeah,
but then you just have to be careful. Like I'm very careful when if I enter into a friendship with someone now, like you and with Mariah and stuff, from the get-go, I'm like, don't text me about work. Like, this is separate. Like, you have ways of contacting me for work, and that doesn't cross over too bad. Mariah and I call it Fight Club. So we'll be like, no, Fight Club. Like, so we'll be hanging out and we'll get off track and start talking about nail stuff. And then I'll be like, wait a minute, 2 more minutes and then Fight Club. And she's like, oh, yeah, sorry. And she'll do it back to me. Yeah. It's so much better. Yeah. Like, that's been the best way to cross over.
You hang out in your spare time with people.
I have spare time now. I made it.
It's so weird.
I know. You jelly?
Yeah, a little bit.
You're like, I'm no jelly, friends. But I don't want to leave my house.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's me.
I have free time and I don't want to spend it with anyone else.
If it helps, like, this is a real loser thing. Rochelle's gonna start laughing at. She's laughing at me before she's heard it. So I have all my stuff because I run like basically 4 businesses kind of merged into one. I have a lot of to-do lists and stuff. But on my monthly to-do list that
is
I do
it like hang out with friends?
Book something social because I won't otherwise. Yeah. Like, so I'll plan to have a barbecue or I'll like go, I've been meaning to book tickets to this. So I will actively find someone to go with. So because I won't, because I love weekends where I've got nothing planned. And if I have something on both days, it kind of stresses me out because I, as an introvert, I do need a lot of time to myself.
See, I do that. And I'm like, oh, Adam, we should do a barbecue. Nothing. Don't do it, and it's fine. Like, the thought is nice enough for me. I won't actually do anything. Just thinking about it is nice.
Like, I used to be a super social person, and I still am, but I definitely need me time.
Well, I mean, if you're working like pretty much 2 jobs all the time, you've got no spare time anyway.
So my husband's building us a caravan, and so he goes up to my parents, which is 45 minutes away from us, and so he's like, I'm not going to be here this weekend, and that my inner me is like, yes, like, I can zone out and eat like spaghetti on toast and not worry about
that would be
like,
me.
I want the spaghetti on toast now.
I know, it sounds
and
ridiculous.
I get to choose what's on Netflix.
And I don't get yelled at for being on the computer for like 12 hours.
You don't have to have a TV on in the background because they're listening to it but not actually watching it.
Netflix, I don't have to listen to theirs. Like, you get to pick what you want to do. I love not compromising.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It's one of those times where you're like, I wish I was single, but then you don't. No, you really don't.
No way. I would die. Sorry, that sounds real clingy, but I would. But it's really funny because we both bought, like, Anthony's laptop died and all my stuff was on there. So I had like this huge panic attack. I just went out and bought one. Got in a massive fight about it. Anyway, he bought one and his one, of course, is better than mine. But now I don't have to share mine. Yes. And it is so exciting because I'm like, this is my one now. Like, you have your own.
Yeah.
And he's like, can I just check this? And I'm like, use yours, please.
I like go into my salon with my nail art things from Monaco Nail Academy and I play. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing my hobby. You wanted me to get a damn hobby. I got a hobby. And he's like, no, but this is your business now. I'm like, well, we're too poor for me to get another hobby. So this is...
You're too poor and too time poor.
Yeah.
I thought about it. Like, should I get something? And then I'm like, no, what did nails do to me? No, don't do it.
Whereas I'm a few steps ahead of you and I'm in Hobbyland now.
Oh,
yeah. But out of necessity.
What are you, knitting?
You know I am.
I love it.
But knitting and also, like, decorating my house.
Yeah.
Like, just making that, like, a thing, like putting...
Oh, so actually I do have a little bit of a hobby, but it's like expanding my business into like nail art and stuff.
Okay, that doesn't count.
Right. Yeah, no, it doesn't.
No. It's still kind of...
I was going to do resin art, but that's too time consuming.
Yeah. The problem with a lot of my hobbies is that I then go, I could make money from this.
Yeah.
Now it's another job.
Yes, I did that. And I was like, I could sell my cheese boards. And then I was like, oh, no, don't do that. And so I have like 3 cheese boards.
A bunch of us got into knitting and crocheting at the same time. And one of our friends, Jess, is really fast and really good at crochet. And she like puts together little soft toys in no time. And everyone was like, oh, you need to sell those. And I messaged her and was like, don't do it. Make it fun, keep it fun, give them away. I don't care.
Tony's taking offense to my knitting comment.
Yeah, Tony's
I was waiting for it. Sorry, Tony.
Tony, tell us what you learned the hard way.
Yeah, okay, let's have a go.
Rochelle, you had a couple on your list, eh? I think we've got
Yeah.
time for like one
Yeah,
more.
so another one that I learnt the hard way was, and it actually brought to my attention by another classmate, Catherine. So Catherine, if you're watching, this is what I learnt from you, is not having like a theme for my salon. I went batshit crazy and bought like so much stuff. The reason I've sunk like 12 grand into my business is because I've changed stuff like 100 times.
Yes.
I bought so many different
Overbuying.
shelves. I bought so many different desks. I bought so many different stupid like lamps to see things. Like I look back and I look at my, my GST and stuff, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like,
So
why
with
didn't
the
you just
theme
pick
thing, do
something?
you mean you learned to have a theme?
Yeah, I learned to have a theme. I have a Pinterest board now, and I look at that when I'm looking at buying something, and I'm like, that does not fit your theme, Rochelle. What are you doing?
See,
Like, and I've written on my FPOS card for my business, like, does this fit your theme? And do you fucking need this? Excuse my language. But like, it even says like the F word on there because I was going crazy. Like,
Yeah.
just,
My FPOS card says go
Oh.
one more day.
I think I saw that when I went and got the
See,
lights.
mine, it doesn't matter about the
But
theme.
with
Well,
the lights, I
'cause-
went 2 more years.
Yeah.
Because like when I started, I had a theme, but because I wasn't happy with it, I changed the theme
Yeah.
the next day, and we're
Yeah.
like 2 weeks later, and
Yeah.
so it's really shit
Yeah.
from me.
I just think like, and I heard you, Rochelle, saying this to students this afternoon as well, but it ties in with what you're saying is like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
No.
Nothing has to be perfect. Like the fact that you've spent 12 grand on having 75 different desks is like, fudge, mate. Like the
That's
first
a bit
desk
much.
was fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it
was
totally
fine.
was.
Yeah, I know
But
it
I
was.
just-
I've never seen it, and I know it was fine.
Yeah, but I don't know what came over me. I was just so excited about it.
I've done it too.
And,
Janelle's
like,
done it, I'm
yeah.
sure.
I just
Yeah,
went
she
crazy.
has.
And, I bought way too many colors. And so now my
That's
clients
the
are like,
thing.
I cannot choose. So I had to take half of them away.
Yeah,
And now I kind of rotate them through.
which is
I'm
good
like-
because there's always something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, just come up with a
So
theme
many
or
newbies
come up
spend
with
too
what
much
you want to
money.
do. And it's like, it
I
doesn't
still
have to
do
cost that
too
much.
much.
Yeah.
I spend too much
I
money
always
at
buy
Kmart.
I'm like, oh, I need that new Chrome. No, I freaking don't.
No.
I have 12 of them.
I remember a student walking in.
Bought 5.
A student walked in one day it's like week 2 of course, and she was so excited to tell everyone that she'd just been on the website, not ours, and bought $750 worth of glitter. And I was like, why? You're never going to turn a profit, ever. People are satisfied with like a gold and a silver for now. And then when you know who your regulars are, you know what they love, you know what you're passionate about, add a couple. But like, you don't need all the things you think you need, newbies. You need so much less.
And I wish I'd invested in proper brushes.
Oh, yeah. I also had a $2 shop art brush for the first like 4 years, and I loved it. And then I still have it, actually. I have one very small box of mementos from my whole life because I hate hoarding, but my first ever nail art brush is in there.
Nice.
But like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
The second mine was more with acrylic brushes because my first ever acrylic brush I kept for 4 years, and then I got a new one and was like, holy shit, I'm good at acrylics. Tony said she listened to me while she was learning and didn't learn anything the hard way because she listened in the first place.
Oh, sweet as,
What
mate.
a load of codswallop. Actually, probably the fact that you have to work super hard to get new clients and they don't just walk in your door as soon as you post on Facebook.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. When my first
Although that happens to me now. Sorry, not sorry.
No, but you do have to work for it. Like when I say to people like that I'm strict, new clients have to prepay. I only do nails every second week. I won't do this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
It sounds really like conceited, but actually I earned this.
Yeah.
Like I worked really hard. I built up 300 clients, and then I picked the 15 that, like, when I was able to downsize, I picked the ones I wanted, and I've set the rules. And even if you set the rules from the start, it will just grow slower. That's all. Like I had no rules at the start, so I grew very quickly and then downsized. However, if you set the rules from the start, you'll have perfect clients, but slower. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely.
It sort of reminds me of a quote that I saw once. Well, I was watching an episode of something on YouTube, and it was this. And I can't remember the exact quote now, so this is very convoluted. But it was sort of like, what you learn easily, you forget easily. What you learn through practice and
hard work
you take with you for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And that's definitely the case with learning things the hard way. Is like the stuff that I learned in class was easy, and it wasn't until I got out into the real world that you realize, holy shit, this is hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all hard. People don't know that it's hard. Yeah. Like Tony's so spot on that clients don't just walk in. My first ever trainee like literally packed her stuff up 6 weeks after graduating because a friend was coming to stay, but she never unpacked it. And it's because, and I know this because I know her daughters, but she genuinely said to them before training, this is my retirement plan. This is what's this is my backup if I ever get made redundant. But then I think she thought that her certificate would make her the Pied Piper of nails, and she'd just walk home with the people coming out their doorways
oh,
singing.
do me.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen. When I say that I was fully booked within 4 months, and I've said lots of times, it's not a secret that I made $117,000 my first full-time year as a nail tech. But I also worked 80 hours a week to do that. Yeah. So, it's possible, but it's hard.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's one of the hardest things you do is start a business.
Yeah. But you should totally be a nail tech, though, guys.
It's really fun. Yeah.
I do love it.
I mean, I've been done it for 11 years, and I don't want to do something else.
Yeah.
And my career's just morphed every time I am still doing clients, but I focus on marketing and I can focus on social media, and there's all these, you get to do the bookkeeping, there's every part, and you can outsource.
I really like the bookkeeping.
Same.
It's fun for me.
You can outsource bits that you don't like, but you get to do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
And you can diversify, definitely.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, if you guys wanted to become a nail tech, you could head to www.monaco.ac.nz and have a look at our courses, both in person here in Auckland, New Zealand, and online nationally and internationally. So we have been Janelle.
Hi, goodbye.
What's your Instagram?
Plume Nail Design, PLUME with an E.
M for mother.
M for mother, E for elegant.
Elegant.
Oh, I like it.
And Rochelle's been with us.
Aphrodite and Iris.
So your Instagram's Aphrodite.iris, right? Yeah. And mine is Penny Lawler Nail Artist, if you want to see what we get up to between podcasts. And next week, Monday 5 p.m, if you want to watch live and ask questions, we have one of Janelle's friends joining us.
Yeah, hopefully. I've got to reconfirm it. Yeah.
If she joins us.
What's
she going to chat with us about?
She is a social media manager or marketer. So just all kinds of, I've got to prepare some questions. So that
we could also get some of these guys to put questions in the comments if they haven't already closed the live stream because they know that we're finishing up. So chuck some questions for a social media manager. Yeah.
And so we'll sort of interview her, what she does for business, how she can help us, how she can turn things around, or how it's vital for us to manage our social media and everything.
Maybe some things she learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Isn't next Monday a public holiday?
It is. That's what I was going to ask you.
And what?
Oh, no, I'm just asking.
And what?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
We still run on public holidays.
Because
but our sales are done, we still run class because you pay for it beforehand, so restricted trading doesn't apply, but So we'll still be here next Monday chatting with a social media manager.
If it's not her, then
we'll still chat about social media. We've got plenty of lessons from social media ourselves, but hopefully we will have in a social media expert. If you haven't clicked off yet, please hit the like button and tag a friend in the comments below, or share this if you're listening on Spotify, and we'll be back next week. Tony wants a social media boss. We'll be back next week, same time, same bat channel. Bye.